All right, welcome back. Week 13 here. No longer Dan and Chad on the Mac. We changed it to at Fantasy Staple. We figured that was much more fitting. This week's going to be a little bit different. We're going to bring you some sleepers just to help you get through your championship weeks.
We're going to set you up for the playoff run and also do a little special ceremony, as I like to call it, from last week's bet. So
you guys are all waiting for it.
But next week we'll be back with the stardom setums for your first week of the playoffs that hopefully you have achieved, like Dan has in all 8 of his leagues, surprisingly. Which, if you want to do a contest, we don't know what the prize will be yet. We're going to pick of the 8 playoff games Dan's in, how many championships he brings home. So I should be in at least 3 or 4. I'm on the borderline, but all right, let's do the commencement before Dan can wear the Browns jersey. He's going to shotgun a beer with everybody. If you want to do it with him, go ahead. Holy shit!
Who does that?
Dude, get it up here on. No, you gotta do it on. Go.
And
now he gets to wear this. All right, Dan. Here you go.
I just want to cry right now.
It's a Braylon.
At least I'm wearing a Jets jersey.
Oh, okay. Well, you can lie to yourself.
I feel like Trent Richardson when he got drafted by the Browns.
Oh, wow. I gotta take a picture of this. It's like watching my kid walk or something.
Oh, dear. Sweet baby Jesus.
Hold on.
Oh, God. Never thought I'd do this in my life. Guess that's what happens when your team commits 8 turnovers.
That was a brutal game, Dan.
Oh. The shotgun was much needed, guys. Chad's over here taking pictures. But like we said, it's going to be a different podcast this week. Just straight sleepers, no sit-ems, no stardoms.
We do have a column, though. We're giving out, since this is the last week of the... That was pretty rough, wasn't it? The last week of the regular season, we're giving out... We're going to name our all-staple team and give out our Fantasy MVP award for the best fantasy player this year. So it's a little different. It's kind of fun.
I think we're going to have a little fun here tonight. Oh,
I
got
already
beer on my computer screen.
Look at this kid in the Browns jersey. This is awesome.
Oh, no. All right, we're good.
All right, Dan, you want to jump into it with the sleeper?
Oh, man, I just want to jump out of this jersey. All right, sleepers. It's going to help you out, I believe, in the future coming up. He's actually hit it big the last 2 weeks. Mohamed Sanu out of Cincinnati. Last time we checked, 1.1% owned in all ESPN leagues. I don't know where you guys play. Why are you laughing?
Because you're wearing a Browns jersey.
Just do the podcast, Chad. All right. Oh, God. The last 3 games, 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty good. 12 points last game, and also he's Dalton's main target when they're in the red zone. And Cincinnati seems to be getting to the red zone here a lot lately. So Mohamed Sanu, only 1% owned. You should be able to pick him up unless here in the last hour or so it's jumped up to 80%, which it should. But what do you got?
I like Sanu, though. I'll just touch on it briefly. That's why I gave him a shout-out a few weeks ago. But my first guy, Shane Vereen, touchdown each of the last 2 weeks. He had that long 80-yard scamper on Thanksgiving. I'm sure all of you saw it. And he's gotten 10 touches the last 2 weeks, Dan. So he's coming on strong. But the main reason for this is New England's up, I think, 3 games in the division. They're going to clinch soon, so they're more than likely going to want to rest Stephen Ridley, get him ready for the real game. So that leaves you with Shane Vereen getting all the carries in at least, I'm thinking, 3 games the majority, and he'll probably start 2 games. So championship week, Shane Vereen could be a huge, huge factor.
Oh, dear. That shotgun's still getting me. I haven't done that in a while. I'm no longer in college. Wait. I don't know what that means. I'm still burping. Go on to your next one because it's still coming.
All right, my next one. This is the big guy, Jacquizz Rodgers. He's not still under the radar guy. He usually gets about 4 or 5 receptions a game. So PPR leagues, he's been relevant all year. A lot of people own him in those leagues, but Atlanta's even going to clinch the division even sooner than New England. They're a team that I think they can clinch in 2 weeks, or maybe not this week, but the next week, I believe. And the burner's about done. The Fantasy Pharaoh just said this. Pick up Jacquizz. Turner's not doing it for...
Even C-Hub, he called it too.
So that's... I don't know. what's going on. The burner's old. The burner's
Sorry,
knees are
guys.
weak.
I'm not really into wearing this jersey. I don't know.
He likes it.
I really don't.
But Jaquiz Rogers, that's the guy that is going to come through championship week, playoffs, use him, PPR leagues. Yo, if you can get him there, jump all over that.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take mine. Devon Best. We've been harping on this guy a little bit here and there throughout the year. He's only owned in 15% still, and he's actually producing pretty well. These last 2 weeks, he scored 13 points. 2 weeks ago, 11 points last week. Actually, the other way around. But last week, he put up some pretty decent yards, 129 yards through the air, receiving. I'm so out of it.
He's coming.
I hate this jersey. Anyways, he's been seeing his targets rise from Tannehill. For some reason, Tannehill sees Best as his prime target in key situations. So just keep an eye open for him. I mean, he's most likely going to be available. So pick him up at 15%. He's likely available.
He gets a lot of targets. I did watch a little bit of their game last week. He was a factor finally. I mean, we were calling it all year, hoping he would get more targets, but Tannehill's finally seeing him get open over the middle. And I'll give a special shout out to T.Y. Hilton. Still only 28% of all leagues. He's had 4 touchdowns the last 3 weeks if you include the punt return. What are you waiting for?
Get your points.
Like I said, over Jeremy Maclin, he has more points than Maclin, Dwayne Bowe, who we're going to talk about a little later on. Just wait.
You just wait.
And I don't know what to say. If you're not picking up T.Y. Hilton, because Donnie Avery's out with a concussion in Indy, this guy's the number 2 receiver there. Reggie Wayne's getting double teamed. T.Y. Hilton's a burner. Pick him up.
Quit playing the name game. It's hurting you. I know it is.
You want to win, you got to use
the talent.
Information, statistics, matchups. Don't worry about names. Dwayne Bowe, Hakeem Nicks, guys like that. You want to start them and lose, go ahead. But T.Y. Hilton's a good pickup this week, and Dan's got one more for you.
Last sleeper for the week. We're going to keep it short, like we said. No Sean Moreno.
He wants to keep it short because he doesn't want to wear the jersey.
Basically. 25% of all ESPN leagues own No Sean. He's getting a bulk of the workload right now. No Hillman Moreno drama right now. But, I mean, he's even going to get targets out of the backfield in the passing game. He's going to play in the championship week, especially with McGahee out. McGahee might come back the last week or two, depending on the knee, but he's not going to get a ball carries.
He's on the IR for the year.
Oh, is he?
Mm-hmm.
News to me. There you go.
That makes the Moreno value even higher.
Pick him up. Only 25%, so just like all these guys we're naming, they're below 25%. So you go out there and get him. He's there. He's getting the points. He's getting the bulk. And in Denver, he's going to get some yards.
They get in the red zone quite often. The thing there, I was worried last week when we were talking. That's why Bryce Brown was the one. And it was either down to Bryce Brown or Ronnie Hillman for a lot of people because ESPN, of course, tagged Hillman to get the carries. But I said, hold tight and watch because if you remember, I said this is why they kept No Sean Moreno because he's a guy, first-round pick, high draft pick. They kept him for this reason, for emergencies in case of injury.
Yeah, just like we did. We did talk about that last week a little bit. No Sean Hillman. We said we don't really know who's going to be the starter, but
it's apparent now you want to get Moreno as a guy.
And to add to the fun festivities
this is kind of cool,
Dan and the Browns Jersey podcast, ceremonious necessity. But yeah, we're going to go over Chad and I, we picked our own teams, but your fantasy teams. We're not basing it on how they're doing in...
It's like we're calling it the all-staple team. This is the guys through the fantasy regular season since there's only 1 week left. These are the best performers we think of the fantasy year.
Week to week.
Our teams are quite kind of similar. For quarterback first team, I got Tom Brady.
Yeah, I see that. I got Drew Brees as my quarterback.
You can't go wrong with either one, to be honest.
Really
RG3, I was surprised either one.
Yeah, we thought about RG3.
Rookie of the year, though, I would give it to RG3. Fantasy Rookie of the year.
Yeah.
We both agree on the running backs. This is a no-brainer. You have both of them, I think,
I do. They're both on my team, along with Aaron Rodgers, who hasn't produced quite like he should have. But we got Arian Foster and Adrian Peterson as the running backs.
You can't go wrong with those guys. I mean, Peterson after the ACL, just...
That's why I picked him up.
Every week he's just consistent. That's why we love Doug Martin, but we could not include him on this because that 64-point week did a lot for him there. So that's a lot of his.
Yeah, I mean, he's seen some. The beginning of the season wasn't that great, obviously. I mean, we talked about him. Then I told you to sit him, and he blew up for 1 million points. But
hit 2 weeks in a row.
Pocket hamster guy. God, But moving on. Also, wide receivers, we were also in agreement with AJ Green
and Brandon Marshall. They're both, you can't beat what they've done this year.
What'd you say about AJ Green earlier? Pretty good statistic here.
If you go average-wise compared to his position, because we were actually talking about this, we agree AJ Green is our fantasy MVP for this year. I didn't have to convince him, but I enlightened him, I guess, a little bit, we could call it.
He just ruined our final segment.
Oh, but we'll talk about it now then. But AJ Green is the fantasy MVP of the whole year because per position, his average over the next closest wide receiver is a whole 2 points better.
It's almost 3.
And I mean, if you look at like Drew Brees is doing compared to RG3 and Tom Brady, it's only
it's
0.8.
Less than a point. Yeah, it's less than a point.
But what AJ Green does compared, he's had a touchdown in all but the first game of this year and the last week's game. He's just dominating, over 1,000 yards already and 10 touchdowns. The guy is doing what Calvin Johnson did last year. Might even get on the Madden cover next year, God forbid, for his career. And then you'll all overdraft him next year, and he will not do shit in the first couple weeks, and then you'll be upset. And you'll be mad at us for making him the fantasy MVP and giving you that impression. So,
How
but
many people listen to us, Chad?
They're out there,
One day,
Dan.
one day.
Just remember, once we hit 200 followers, we're giving away a T-shirt.
The Fantasy Staple tees. You're not going to want to miss it. They're pretty badass.
We're still in negotiation. We're thinking about putting Des Bryant beating his mom with a stapler as one of the T-shirts.
Or Jet Li kicking a staple off my head.
That's another one, too.
Or it's not going to be either of those. But it's still going to be sweet.
Or Abraham Lincoln with the stapler.
As a beard. Or
Or Staples as the beard.
We don't know. We'll come up with something.
What about Chuck Norris, like, shooting a staple?
Chuck Norris didn't use guns.
No, he shoots a staple.
Roundhouse kick.
All right.
Anyways, tight ends. We actually don't agree on this one. Mostly, I didn't agree with his because he was injured part of the season.
It's fine. I got to go with Gronk just because when he is healthy, there's just no comparison as far as fantasy value. I mean, Jimmy Graham's really good, but Jimmy Graham had like 3 or 4 off weeks this year.
Yeah.
Gronkowski is. I mean, last year he seemed like he had 2 touchdowns every week. This year he came through strong again. That's who I got. Dan's got Gonzo. I can't argue with that. I really do like that guy's been.
I got Tony Gonzalez. The dude's like 63 years old, and he's played every week this year. He's been consistent. I mean, he's got you the points you need. He's got you decent points. I mean, you can't complain with it, especially say you drafted Gronkowski or Hernandez. They've been hurt half the season, so
shit. Most people didn't draft Gonzalez.
Well, I know. I'm just saying, but like
that's what's scary about that. He just showed
Gonzalez,
up. People weren't expecting that.
He's there. He's been consistent. I mean, it's been pretty ugly with tight ends this year. Nobody produced in the first 5 or 6 weeks. Then some of the guys are coming out, but Gonzalez has been there the whole year.
He's been, every week to week. I don't know if he had only a few single-digit weeks, but I can see that. I don't argue with that pick much. Defense, I got the Bears only because they're not that consistent. I do think that I might rescind that Dan Steelers pick. They are consistent. I thought Denver's defense was also up there for this. The Bears, though, they score a lot of points. I mean, that's why I had to pick them. I've never seen a defense put up like 30 points before. That's just wow.
Right.
Trades for the Bears defense this year were off the chart. I heard
even in our league.
Yeah, we saw a huge blockbuster
package
deal go down for the defense. So
yeah, that was pretty insane. But he's got the Bears. I got the Steelers. I mean, you can't argue them being the number 1 defense in the league. They've been the most consistent in fantasy world. They haven't had one negative game. I think
double digits last 6 or 7
double digits almost every week, except for maybe 2 or 3. But they still had 6, 7 points. They may have had 1 5-point game, I think it was. But you can't argue the consistency they had this year. I'm sorry.
Did I mention how good that
sorry.
jersey looks? This is awesome. Can
cry.
you bark for everybody?
Fuck you.
All right, the all-fail team, though. We came together to make this team. These are guys that, what can we say? Quarterback, Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, you can say, yeah, you probably don't realize it, but if you own him, you do. The guy is just falling flat on his face this year. I think he's had 4 single-digit games this year. Got hurt. That's not his fault, but the other games that he's 4 digits, like, he's just turned the ball over bad. I mean...
We are also agreeing with... Actually, we agreed on all these because they're just plain bad.
Pretty obvious.
They were supposed to be great, and
they were high drafted guys that a lot of you people probably own them still.
I mean, we got Ryan Matthews. I know you drafted him pretty high, most likely, and that just kind of kicked you right in the nuts. But
Oh, the next one, Steven Jackson. Yeah, there's not much to even really say there.
his first 100-yard game was 2 weeks ago, and he hasn't did anything after that.
Both him and Ryan Matthews are just single-digit guys. I mean, not even 6 points is good to get out of either one of them. The wide receivers, this is probably the well, no, we got a fail MVP, but it's not him. Dwayne Bowe.
I drafted him, guys. I think 6th round, but still.
And Hakeem Nicks is the other one. He's been injured, I understand that, but when he's came back, he's played, I think, 6 or 7 solid games and done absolutely nothing, and he's been healthy. He's gone this year for whatever reason. So.
Then everybody's Superman, Antonio Gates at tight end.
He's old. That's a lot of these guys are just getting old. Steven Jackson.
It's getting there, but the hype, I mean, you got to play off the hype and all that. I mean, everybody, just like we said, they play the name game.
These are all big name guys that a lot of people held on. They're still holding on to.
I mean, you can't play the name game if you want to win your fantasy championship. But
and that brings us to the fantasy MVP.
Words with friends, guys. Let's play.
That was Words with Friends.
Treasy778. Words with friends if you want in.
Hit me up. You'll probably beat the shit out of me. I'm horrible at that.
He kind of doesn't have a vocabulary.
I get bad words. I never hit the
I
didn't even know they had blank tiles until the other day, and that was like my 30th game. I've never
played Scrabble,
dude. I've never had a blank tile on that because my my letters are so bad. Anyways, our fantasy MVP
I just
about
threw
fail
up when Jersey Brown Jersey touched Brown's
you love
jersey. Oh my!
The Eagles' defense has had the worst fantasy season.
What did they have last 3 or 4 weeks?
The last 6 weeks combined. Are you ready for this? Combined points for them is -12. That's wow. That's the fantasy fail MVP of the year. If you still have the Eagles defense, they're owning 57% of all leagues still. That's the kicker of this whole thing. People play the name game because they were supposed to be this super heroic team.
Oh, Mike Vick comes in. He's going to save us all.
But, oh
Sweet
my Lord.
Jesus.
That's the fantasy fail MVP. Our fantasy MVP again, AJ Green.
Great.
If you drafted him, congratulations to you. That means in the second round, you decided, like Ricky, he was talking about this. He took the gamble and decided to take AJ Green over the hot running backs that people were talking about.
He's averaging almost 16 points a week.
I believe that, projection-wise, AJ Green was, here, and Donald Brown was, 3 picks, right in there. Some people actually drafted Donald Brown over AJ Green.
I didn't, but
I didn't do that either.
But I didn't draft either one of them.
That's just sad. Takes us to the next topic.
Oh, sorry.
Are we talking about AJ Green?
I was going to talk about receivers in general.
Okay, what's up, Mr. Brownie?
I was actually going to say that I don't possess any of my current receivers that I drafted.
I picked up a lot. Like Cecil Shorts is the main one. If you can still get him, seriously jump on that bandwagon because he's in, I think, the top 15 of wide receivers in the NFL. But a lot of people still don't know who he is. You ready?
Stone Cold Staples.
Put a staple in it, son.
All right. On the year, myself, I'm 6-5-1. Had the tie last week.
We're not gonna just go.
Well, anyways,
whatever.
Chad 6-6 on the year. You still got to know our individual records. You watch ESPN Sunday morning.
Yeah, you
football.
go with Hammer and Hank, who's 7-28.
Well, we're not that.
The Browns have a better record versus the Steelers than
overall.
Hammer and Hank does versus the spread.
Overall, we're 12-11-1. Which winning record, we're not going to win many parlays with that, but whatevs. And we're going to go with Chad's Stone Cold Staples here.
I've got Chuck Pagano's Indy Colts. Those are my hot guys, and 4.5 points at Detroit. I'm thinking they actually win that game just because that team is just fighting.
We actually got Eric Medved here tweeting us here at the Staple. Kaepernick or Romo this week? He's having a little issue.
Dude, that's the same thing that I got.
Chad, what did you decide?
All right, this is a little hot. Who does San Fran play?
Oh, dear Lord, sweet baby Jesus.
I know that Romo's going against Philly, and he's going to get... Yeah, it's so hard. Kaepernick's the hot hand, but Philly's, like we just said, Philly's defense is no good. Therefore, I'm going to go with Romo just because the only reason I got to say it is because San Francisco always lulls with the running backs, and they pound you to death. That's not a team that's going to just come out and throw. Dallas just comes out and throws at you. They fall behind. They throw at you some more. So least made me believe that Romo's going to get the passing yards, maybe not the touchdowns. Kaepernick, though,
They got the Rams.
yeah, flip a coin, man. You're not going to lose with either one, I think. Kaepernick's the sexy pick, though.
He is. I mean, he's different. Everybody likes something different.
For the record, though, in the league that I'm in, it doesn't matter this week because I've already clinched this playoff seed that I got. I'm going to start Kaepernick just as, like, a little fun experiment.
There you go.
What do you think, Dan?
I like Kaepernick. Every time we've done something about Romo, every time we've picked him, he's blown up in our face. And Kaepernick 2-0 as a starter right now. He's got some legs. He's thrown more good balls than Alex Smith has all year that I've seen him in the last two
He's
games.
the quarterback of the future. That's why I was tweeting about that.
But he looks good, and I think he's just going to keep getting better.
But for this matchup-wise, though, the matchups, I mean, St. Louis has a good pass rush team. That's
They
the
have
thing.
a good pass rush, but he's got the mobility. He's going to get him out. Alex Smith's not going to do that.
But the system that San Francisco runs does not favor quarterback yardage. Dallas's does. Is the thing. You know, it's
That's true.
Kaepernick is the guy that is probably the better of like I said, the sexy pick. But it depends on how many rushing yards he gets.
Right.
How much faith do you have that he's going to run quarterback draws?
Like you said, San Fran, their offensive line's built for a pocket quarterback. Kaepernick's running around. The linemen want to know where their quarterback's at. I personally would do Romo this week.
This week, yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't know if you can go wrong. The matchup-wise, though, if Romo was going against, let's say, San Francisco, just Romo probably throws more than any quarterback in the league.
62 passes last week.
But DeMarco Murray should be back next week. I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
You want my advice, though? Romo's a safe bet. If you feel frisky, go with Kaepernick. Personally, though, I'll probably tell him to go with Romo. Like, I mean,
I agree with that.
It's so up in the air.
It is.
My last staple, though, I got the Giants -2.5 on the road against Washington. Washington defense is horrible. Eli's finally coming out of the hut. He always comes on strong at the end of the year, so that's why I like that pick. You got Dano.
Well,
That jersey looks good. Did I mention that?
I'm gonna punch you right in your schnoz. But I'm taking Jacksonville. They're in Buffalo, getting 6 points. Henny's coming on pretty strong. Doing pretty good work over there.
Doing some work, son.
For a less than stellar team out there.
Considering he's a Michigan quarterback, he's doing some damn good work, Dan.
So is Tom Brady. I mean,
get on the.
I'm not a Brady fan, but I just had to
get on the schneid.
And also, I'm taking
Cincy -1 against San Diego.
I'm gonna take San Diego. They're actually getting a point from Cincy.
Did you just flip your pick?
I did. I looked at the matchup and I was like, meh. But yeah, I'm gonna take San Diego. Getting a point from Cincy. They're in San Diego. I think Phillip Rivers is gonna have a pretty good game. And then moving on as well.
Everybody's favorite.
Here we go,
segment.
guys.
What were we talking about again? Pass rush. All right,
Just kidding, Call.
Everybody's favorite segment. Words with Friends is blowing me up,
Dude.
dude. That's funny.
I just played a word actually.
You dick. You're probably beating me.
The Chris Johnson Fantasy Tracker. That's where we're at. He is in Houston this week. Houston actually has not given up a pass. Rush
touchdown.
Rush touchdown, except for last week where they gave up, I think, 2. But we'll see what happens this week, whether or not they continue that little fad.
I'm saying Chris Johnson blows the roof off of everybody's minds. I'm saying 17 points. It's going to be a wild. This is Chris Johnson for you, folks. I've said this all year. Shows up when you least expect it. 17 points, Dan. Huge game. I was almost dead on last week.
You were almost dead on, but I'm going to be dead on this week with 9.
Like 5?
9.
That's generous compared to what I thought.
Bless you. But 9 points, 67, going to round it up to 70 rush yards and 20 receiving.
Sure.
Whatever. It's 9 points, you got 17.
You're in the Browns Brotherhood. It doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh.
Browns
I hate
Nation.
You guys are a bunch of douche
So there you go. That's what we think for that segment. For final shout-outs, of course, we're giving shout-outs to Apples, Drink Chocolate Milk, and Champ Dog 9, K Grinnell 50, Tracy Vegas, Ben Radiff, Phil Dawson, and Eric Medved. Check them out on Twitter, all those Browns faithful.
But spread the word. We're no longer Dan and Chad on the Mac. We are at Fantasy Staple.
And
the
Dan was
Fantasy
wearing a
Staple,
Browns jersey.
And now I'm going to go
Shoot
soak
yourself.
myself in baby oil and go
Eat apples, everybody.
rub myself on a tree pole or something. I don't know.
Did you just tell America you're going to go rub yourself on a tree pole?
I don't know what a tree pole is, but hey, Dan and Chad.
Follow us.
We're here. I'm Dan, that's Chad. The
Dude,
Fantasy
we need to be
Staple.
out.
Okay, bye.